It's a Flat Cap Cafe Racer here today. I'm at Mr. Bill's and we're going to delve into, again, for you that have not followed this saga, Mr. Bill started working on this bike about a year ago, almost a year ago, putting about performance parts on. And we got to the point it's all together, but it's not running right. So that's the shortcut of it. But Mr. Bill's going to be doing some other things here today, and I'll have him explain that in just a minute. But he's also put some Farkles on his bike. He's got, you see those on those radiator guards? He's got some radiator guards. He's got a fender extension. Then he's got one on the rear. He's got his good pants on. One's only with a really big hole in it. There you go.
A little hugger.
He got a little hugger. Oh, isn't that cute? Meerkat.
Today we should take the tank back off, and we're going to do a compression check. And based on that, I think we're probably going to also pop the valve cover off and verify that the cam timing is correct. I mean, it was when I put it together, so who knows? That's what we're going to do.
Oh. Well, let's get to it. We'll see what it's going to do. So this is what the bike looks at right now. I think it's about where we left you guys last time. Is we had tried to start it up, and it would start and run, but it was just running on basically one cylinder completely, another cylinder about 70%, and the last cylinder about 15 or 20%. So it was good on this one, not so good on this one, and hardly at all on the third cylinder. So it didn't sound exactly right. Okay, we got to the point where the gas tank, Mr. Bill got the gas tank off. He's pulled the spark plugs out in the and going to use a compression gauge to fit these spark plug holes.
That's cylinder 1 on the left, cylinder 2 in the middle, and cylinder 3 in the back.
So
one on the right.
One on the left.
It's cylinder 1.
Uh-huh.
Cylinder 2 in the middle, and cylinder 3 on the right. So you can see how they were burning, or not at all.
Compression test, Mr. Bill. We did cylinders 2 and 3, and they're about 150.
About 150, yeah.
So we're fixing to do cylinder 1 and see what that is.
And if this one is 150, then we know we're good all the way through. Although I don't know if 150 is the correct number.
we don't know what the number is. But we know what the number.
We know what the number we're getting is.
We just don't know what the right number is.
So far we're consistent with cylinder 3 and 2, so let's see what cylinder 1 gives us.
We'll probably edit this part out because we is when we put the compression tester in cylinder number 3 the first time is we couldn't get the little adapter dealy out. Let me show you what that looks like.
Still, there we go. Yeah, that's on the hose, and then this is the adapter for the size of the thread, and this stayed inside. So we got it out by using a very large extractor and didn't damage it, fortunately, and didn't. So we were able to. This time it's really cranked on to the hose.
That was my idea.
Good one too.
We had 2 different gauges. We used my gauge. And we use the one, my gauge is the one on the left, and we use the right from Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight gauge we got 150 about, and on my gauge we got about a 180 on all 3 cylinders. So the gauges are consistent, they're just consistently different.
Yeah.
So we still don't know what the right number is supposed to be.
Right.
But if it's between 150 and 180, I think we got it nailed, Mr. Bill.
Yeah, really?
Well, we did some checking, and we needed to verify the difference between the gauges. Checked the manual, and we didn't see anything about compression, what the compression was supposed to be, how many PSI it's supposed to be. Bill checked his email. One of his buddies says it's supposed to be 210. Well, we have the same across basically all the cylinders, but either way you cut it with either one of the gauges, where at 150 on one gauge and 180 on another gauge. So we're still a long way from 210. So round 2 on this, and the battery was kind of getting a little peaked there. So we're going to put the higher rank charger on here to get it going.
Okay, we're at 10 amps on this one.
Then we're going to make sure, Bill's going to be on the other side, make sure. I think the secondaries were opening up, but I don't know if they stayed open.
Right.
So that may make a difference. That time was on cylinder number 3, and Mr. Bill held the secondary open, and we went from about 180-ish
to 190-ish.
190-ish.
Yeah.
So that made a little difference. So on cylinder 2, we had 190 and 195, then 190. That time when we tested, cylinder number 1 went to 200, then 195. So cylinder 1 had better compression on pretty much all the test gauges, and each time we've done it. So wrap up, this time it was cylinder 1's 190, 200 and 195. Cylinder 2 was 195 and 190, and cylinder 3 was 190.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not at 210. I don't know if it has anything to do with the elevation. It sounded like it's cranking over pretty good. So, well, with 2 different gauges giving us 2 different readings, and neither one of them we think are good readings, I think Mr. Bill's going to get the gauges checked and try to find out whether the 210 is actually what we're supposed to have, or is the 190-ish going to be all right for compression. So we're going to leave it here. I think Mr. Bill's going to pull the valve cover off. The next thing to be doing is to check the if maybe the cam chain slipped off a tooth or something like that. So come back with us in the never-ending saga of the Rocket 3. This is a Flat Cap Cafe Racer out for today. Join me and my friends at Flat Cap Cafe Racer for riding and racing. Please subscribe.